Hello friends, today we are going to start with a new framework named CodeIgniter Web Framework. This framework is quite popular among the web developers, programmers or PHP developers. So for some people who want to start with the MVC platform, so CodeIgniter can be considered as a basic framework which is completely created in PHP, and it is like a basic framework which you can have a thorough understanding. If you are a beginner for MVC framework, then CodeIgniter is a best start. So let's have a look about CodeIgniter. Okay, starting with about our tutorial. CodeIgniter is a very powerful PHP framework with a very small footprint built for developers who need a simple and elegant toolkit. As I mentioned, simple and elegant means very easy to understand. It's not that complicated, like you have to follow certain protocols. So it is very simple and elegant toolkit to create a full featured web applications. So it is basically focused on the web application framework. You can only create web applications with the help of CodeIgniter. CodeIgniter, who created it? So it's like it was created by LS Lab. LS Lab is for the people or the persons, programmers running LS Lab are completely into web development. So there were a group of developers who created this MVC platform, that is namely CodeIgniter, and it is now a major project for British Columbia Institute of Technology. Okay, so this is what is a basic start for our tutorial, a small definition or a gist of it. Like CodeIgniter is nothing but a web development PHP framework. Now the audience. Who are the target audience? This tutorial has been prepared for PHP developers who would like to learn the art of developing websites using CodeIgniter. As I mentioned earlier in this chapter, it is completely related to a MVC platform. Like MVC means it's a model view controller platform. So it is completely different to that of a core PHP thing. So the person who wants to learn about CodeIgniter, like he wants to start for MVC platform, then he can start with CodeIgniter framework. It provides a complete understanding of the framework. You don't want to completely focus on one thing, like okay fine, I have to understand PHP first of all, that is the primary thing, and you don't want to completely rely on one thing, like okay, I don't know MVC, should I start with CodeIgniter? That's not a problem over here. You don't know MVC, it's fine, but if you are good in PHP, at least with the core PHP thing, then you can start with CodeIgniter framework. So these are the target audience for us. Like the tutorial has been basically prepared for those who know PHP. I can specifically say that basic PHP, who would like to learn the art of developing websites using CodeIgniter. Like if you want to develop a website for in MVC platform, but you have a basic knowledge of PHP and okay, no knowledge about MVC, if that is also a constraint. If you have a knowledge about MVC, that is a plus point. Then you can very well start with CodeIgniter framework. Prerequisites. Prerequisites mean something which is like essential before starting with this framework. Like what all things are important to understand and what all things you should keep it in your mind before starting this framework. Because it happens that if you are starting with something which is on a higher module, then you should be clear with the ABCDs of it. So these are the prerequisites. So before you start proceeding with this tutorial, we assume, so it's like from the developer point of view, I say that we assume that you're already exposed to HTML, core PHP and advanced PHP. So HTML is like the hypertext markup language, which is common for all the web developers. They have a look of it. And next comes the core PHP module. So core PHP is nothing but the basic PHP thing. So people should understand about the core PHP module. And then comes the advanced PHP. Advanced PHP means the one after clearing the basics, you enter into the advanced PHP section. So these are the basic three prerequisites, and you should have WAM XAMPP software installed in it. If you're a PHP developer, you will definitely know what I actually mean to. The exact software should be installed in your system so that you can have CodeIgniter code base in your system. Next comes is the overview. Overview means a brief introduction, like okay, we saw about a gist of CodeIgniter, but it's also important to understand about the brief introduction, like why we are focusing on this framework. So it is an application development framework. Framework means it is the protocol is predefined. It's not like that you have to create new files as and when it's needed. The logic is needed. You have predefined folders in it. You have to create your files associated to that. So that is framework all about. Now this framework can be used to develop websites using PHP. It is an open source framework, so it includes a very rich set of functionality. Rich set of functionality means that there are various built-in libraries in it. So these libraries can be used, and this will help to increase the speed of your website. Okay, your website development work, that can be increased over here because you have something which is inbuilt, that is the rich set of functionality. So with this rich set of functionality, it is like independent for creating some new modules as and when it is needed. You have something in it, you are just including that modules in your web development framework, and that's all, you're done with your CodeIgniter web framework. So this is what is the basic overview about it, and it is completely done in PHP, which is a server-side scripting language. So that is also a plus point, which is an open source server-side scripting language. The next comes is that for the persons who know PHP very well, so if you know PHP well, then CodeIgniter will make your task easier. It's like a cakewalk for you if PHP concepts are clear for you. It has a very rich set of libraries as well as helpers. As I mentioned, like rich set of functionality are already present in it. By using CodeIgniter, you will save a lot of time. Why we save a lot of time? Because we have some functionalities inbuilt in it. You are just reusing those components as and when you need it. So this will reduce your time, like the amount of time you need for creating the website. So it will not be a time consuming constraint. So if you're developing website from the scratch, CodeIgniter will definitely be a best option to start with. A website built in CodeIgniter is secure as it has the ability to prevent various attacks. CodeIgniter also provides various kinds of security modules. So that's why it is like it helps with password protection, it encrypts your password, it keeps it from the cross-site scripting. So it's like you have a plus point over here that your website is secure also. In spite of the coding feature, like we have that coding functionality in an easy way, but apart from that, we also have our website secure to it. So it's like a plus point, adding feather to your cap. So this would be a basic thing for CodeIgniter, that you can create it from the scratch without consuming your time. And next thing is that it's like very easy to keep it with a secure way. Security is another plus point which CodeIgniter includes. Apart from this, there are n number of features which CodeIgniter takes. That model view controller pattern is already there. It's extremely lightweight. It's not that heavyweight to keep it hosted in your server. Full-featured database classes with the support of several platforms. It includes a query builder database support. And the next thing which is very, very crucial for PHP applications is the session management and the cookie management. It also has the FTP class and the localization support. Localization means it can support various kinds of languages. It's not constrained to only a specific language. It has a pagination support, data encryption, benchmarking, full page caching. Full page caching means that all your pages will be cached and kept somewhere. Then we have error logging system, like you can log your particular error and also display the errors to the end user as and when needed. There is also a application profiling system and with a user agent class. So this helps to keep your helpers, which is a part of CodeIgniter. We have helpers over here to help the functionality as and when you need it. So every rich set of functionality over here is very, very useful for a web developer to just create a web application and host it in a website and keeping it in a secured way. So now in the next chapter, we'll focus about the installation of CodeIgniter. What are the basic steps for installation of the CodeIgniter? And later, we will analyze about MVC platform and the other important aspects, like what are the controller, view and model and how they are created basically in CodeIgniter.